Yes, and now we're back with another classic that feels like it was from the DOS era. This ripoff of Dwarf Fortress here, CDDA, as it is abbreviated. I hope no one takes that comment seriously. Although it would be funny. I guess I don't entirely hope that they don't. But anyway, what were we doing before? I don't even remember. Let's see. When did we get this one? I don't remember. Oh, looks like we got some really good new books, and one of them is a fabrication book, as you can see. Need at least level 7 fabrication. That's a good sign. That would mean you can train it up to at least 8, and I assume further, because that would be weird if it was only a 1 level window. Very strange, actually. What else? I was thinking about making weapon mods for, you know, putting on weapons to increase their capabilities. What's a good one, actually? Bow stabilizer. That can go on bows for stabilizing them. If I've been bow side, I think that makes bows more accurate. And I think it also makes you can aim faster. But I don't have soldering. Oh yeah, that's another thing I need is a soldering kit with solder. I wonder where I'm going to find something like that. I'm not even sure if I can make something like that on my own. That might be technology that is unreplicable. But here's an arrow rest. You see, these are especially useful on bows. Especially in the real world where, you know, being coordinated with a bow and arrow, as being someone who's naturally not an archer and never fired a bow before, it's not very easy to be accurate with your arrows. It would be nice to be able to reliably make grenades, so we can always have explosives ready. But of course, gunpowder is very expensive and very rare, and we don't want to waste something so valuable on something so frivolous. What else? Oh yeah, and the same thing goes for guns. Gunpowder weaponry. Basically useless compared to crossbow and longbow. And sling even. Sling is more useful than any gun, because you can always reload it, whereas you run out of ammo. That gun is basically a paperweight now. The nail rifle is actually good because you can make more nails at a forge, or I think you could make flechettes, which do a lot more damage at a forge. But the drawback of that is you can't find flechettes. You can only craft them at the forge. What else is in here? See, this composite bow is something we really like. What we really want, though, is a compound bow. The very best bow possible. Although a compound great bow would be the finality of greatness. However, I think you need 18 strength to fire one of those, or I think maybe 16 strength. But that's more strength than we have on a good day, so we'll need, I think, either mutations or cybernetics in order to even fire a great bow. Even though great bows are, it's like throwing a human at your target, or a projectile the size of a human at least. And so it's hard to see, or hard not to see, why that would be a good thing. Here's the bullet crossbow, which can fire pebble-type projectiles, which I'm not even sure if that's useful to us because we evolved past that. Oh, that's interesting. This is actually a pretty interesting weapon. I have on a different, or I had on a different character. The pistol crossbow is just like a normal one, but smaller, and so it's oh yeah, and I think this one takes more, or does it take more or less time to reload than a normal one? Oh, it takes less time by a lot. Where is it? Oh yeah, and the repeating crossbow. Technically classifies as a submachine gun, but it comes with a clip that reloads quickly, so it's actually really nice for early game when you don't have things like rail guns, of course. The pistol crossbow, I never actually looked at this reload time metric. Damage of 7, armor pierce of 0. Damage 17, armor pierce 0. So it reloads, let's see, doing the math, that's 6 times as fast, but does half the damage, which means that multiply by 6, that's 120-ish, probably closer to 110, so we'll say 110. Divide that by in half, that's half of 11, 100, no, 11T technically. It would be easier if we made it with 120, so that's let's say 55 maybe? Oh yeah, we can say that's 55. Yeah, technically 110 is divisible by 2 because it's also divisible by 10, which is 5 times 2. And so that's, I think, 55 DPS, whereas, well, not DPS, it's, this is getting complicated fast, but let's just say the pistol crossbow I'm pretty sure is more betterer than the regular one in everything but range, which 6 versus 9, that's pretty terrible. So that's a close range weapon that acts very quickly. Also, what's the dispersion? Worse. But at a closer range that's less of a problem anyway, so yeah. But it needs a small spring and a regular spring, both of those, in order to be craftable. And also, to top that off, both of those items are extremely rare to find and extremely hard to craft. So this is a much later thing. This 12 gauge pistol is useful for bone dogs and skeletons, especially since it has just enough armor pierce and just enough damage to kill bone dogs in, I think, 1 shot, usually sometimes 2 or 3. Skeletons the same way, and you can wield it really quickly, and 1 shot is usually all you need, so having it only be a 1-shot weapon isn't that bad. I've never used a spear gun though. It says that it's only useful for underwater, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it might actually be useful for on land also. I'll need to test that later. Actually taking a look, that uses spears, I think. So wait, what ammo type does that use again? Uses spear gun spear as ammunition. Pretty hard to miss. Doesn't look like that's in here. Well, either way, if I can't make ammo for it, it's useless. I think soon I should stop exploring what I can craft and actually play the game, because this is just unfair to the viewers at this point. So taking stock of what's going on. Yeah, I want to get serious about clearing out the area around our fortification here, our fort. It's not really a house anymore, it's a fort. Like I said, is it a blatant ripoff of Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, it's exactly the same game, just reskinned. You just ask anyone and they'll agree. Well, technically, if you only count adventure mode for Dwarf Fortress, it's kind of almost true, but not entirely. Unless in this game you're actually a dwarf secretly, which I don't think is the case. Although I could be mistaken. I hope not, though. That would be weird. It's going to take so many materials to build walls in these gaps here to block them off. And so much time as well. That's another thing you don't usually consider. And the time factor. Yeah, see that? It's already nighttime and I only deconstructed 2 furnitures, and that only gave me exactly 10 2x4s. That's half of 1 wall segment. Only half of 1. That's half as many as we need to block up this 1 tile alley here, and a quarter of what we need to block up this if we didn't. Oh yeah, this isn't actually even a bottleneck because you can travel diagonally. So that's a quarter of what we need here. Over here it's even worse because that's a 1/6 of what we need, and this is the worst case scenario because that's an 1/8 of what we need in order to block this up. And that's only a wood wall. Those aren't even the best type of wall. If fire hits that, it's gone. Actually, just for fun, let's take stock of how many walls we can theoretically make. So we can make 3 wall segments with how much we have right now. That's barely enough to block up either these 2, both, or just this one. Which, why would you only do 1 if you can do 2 instead? Which would make this kind of an alcove here. Safe area, or safer than usual at least. The real nightmare is going to be this street here, which that's wide open. That's going to need more resources than are in the general area, actually. Probably a bad idea to spread ourselves that thin. At that rate, we might as well just have this part open to the area outside. It would probably be a waste of time to try doing anything else. Is now a good time to read? Let's check the fire. Yeah, might as well put a couple more of these into the fire and read. 6 minutes per chapter in this book, but the fun is pretty low. I think it's worth it. The knowledge itself may not be fun, but what it can do is fun, and so it's a worthy sacrifice. Well, not the knowledge itself being unfun, it's the means by which you attain such knowledge, I guess. Keeping everything well maintained. It's too dark to read because the fire went out. And it's still nighttime. Oh, and that's another thing. These planks are our main source of fuel, so we're also spending them on that. And so, really, in order to do this practically, we need to go to the forest and chop down trees, dissect the trunks into logs and them into planks, and then haul them back to our fort with a vehicle, preferably a solar-powered vehicle, so that we don't need to worry about fueling it ever. Also, it can't be a pedaled vehicle because, have you ever tried carrying around a house worth of planks on your bike before, that's not going to happen. You can fit maybe one 2x4 in the basket in the back without becoming dangerously unbalanced. And then after that point, you're just asking for trouble. Oh, sorry, I meant to press no. Because I actually don't care if you're dead tired, we have work to do. We don't have time for your antics. Being tired. What a farce. Well, at least now we can craft a lot more things because we have fabrication higher now and we can actually make a great bow if we wanted to. But look at this year, the strength 18 minimum requirements. Let's take a look at our strength actually. Right now we have strength 10 because we're sick, but normally strength 12. So I need 6 more units of strength, which is almost twice as much as a normal person in order to use a great bow. That's just not going to happen. I think we might be able to do something weird like mount it onto a vehicle. Or something like that. I'm pretty sure you can do that with, actually, let's see if we can find it. The heavy crossbow, I think it is. I think we can mount this on a vehicle and use it like a trebuchet. Which no, not a trebuchet, what am I thinking? What's that called again? A ballista, yes. I like ballistas, they're my favorite ancient siege weaponry. So, reading the description. Oh, it doesn't say in there. I think I remember it being that way. I'll just take my word for it. So, the reload time is so monumentally long that you would never be able to reload it in time to do anything, so that's nice. Although it does do such a massive amount of damage that it destroys everything, so that's actually unironically nice, or unsarcastically nice I should say. And its maximum range is massive, so I imagine this being actually useful for siege weaponry, and maybe even able to break walls down. But I would need to experiment to find out. Looking at what is actually practical to make right now, only in the range section because that's the only thing we care about right now. Lawn darts are fun but impractical. A reflex recurve bow I think is better than the normal recurve bow, although I'm not entirely sure. The recurve bow can do 14, but the reflex recurve is only 8. Speaking in terms of damage, that is. However, it looks like the reload time is better than twice as good. Maximum range is almost half, though. Very weird, though. Very strange. How would you pick between the two of them? What's the deciding factor? Are we actually able to make a compound bow yet? I don't think so. I think we need fabrication 8 and archery much higher than what we have. So I'll just make the recurve bow for right now. That'll take half an hour, but that's fine. So I have that now, which means longbow is outdated. We can drop that. Can we actually make something in the crossbow line that's better than a normal crossbow? I don't think we can. I don't think we can make any crossbows except for the normal one, actually. Well, hmm. reload time on this is 35. That's also... no, that's shorter, so that's actually worse. There. The reload time on the crossbow is what's so terrible about it. Other than that, it's a great weapon. So now we can actually start using this recurve bow whenever we're done using this crossbow, which is no time soon. Oh, I forgot to park that inside. Oh wait, I brought that out, didn't I? Is it even a good idea to go out while I'm dead tired? I think it's a better idea to spend this time sleeping instead. See, I positioned the bed strategically out of the line of the very bright light so that I could sleep more easily. Let me guess, we're going to wake up at midnight. Yes, right at nightfall, so we can spend our entire time awake out at nighttime, because that's the best thing that can happen. I don't even dare bring my bike out at nighttime because it could get smashed by something I don't see. Now, risking your life is one thing, but your bike, that's just completely unacceptable. Oh yeah, I forgot about these planks out here. Is it better to smash them or disassemble them? Yeah, disassembling probably, but that takes so much time it's not even... or I don't think it's worth it. I'm not going to say it's not worth it, because maybe it is. For someone, that is, not me. In this case, efficiency is more important than speed. So now we can actually start clearing out this area down here that I've been hating for a very long time. How many arrows do we have? Not nearly as many as we have bolts. Actually, how heavy is a single arrow compared to a single bolt? In order to figure that out, I need to do math. Instead of that, maybe I can go into here. So, actually, I can just go right here. I'm an idiot. And so, that's 15, that's 10. Looks like the bolts are actually lighter and smaller. But they have less armor piercing, and worse dispersion, and less range. There. You see, when using a ranged weapon, it's best to let them get as close to you as possible before firing to maximize your accuracy. Of course, the drawback is that now they're closer to you, and that's an obvious downside. I would actually like to start carrying one of those 12-gauge pistols, just to deal with those feral hunters. I'm also going to be taking all of this right now. Don't mind me just carrying 4 times the weight I'm actually supposed to be able to. Oh, and I'm going to drop this now. Was not a good idea to do that. There. And now, be destroyed. And that's an order. judging distance is part of the challenge of this whole dance. Actually taking a look, let's see. It seems the crossbow might have more innate armor piercing than any of the bows, even though the bolts don't have very much. Well, you must admit, even though these military zombies are a nightmare to deal with, they have pretty good loot. Alright, now for the rest of these things here. Oh look, there's even more military zombies in the pack. So, what I'm going to need to do is actually probably draw them back away down here. We're getting considerably better at using crossbow. But I think we should switch to bow for this one, just because we're more experienced in using it. I think also faster at it as well. Yeah, look at that. Lightning fast. Oh, and look at all this. Since we carry money on us at all times, we can buy all of this. Unlike the past me, who is so haphazardous as to never carry any money, and thus was never able to buy anything from vending machines. Ow. Yeah, my vision isn't good enough out here right now to really do any ranged combat, so I'll just head home now. Wait, what was that? Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Let me just deal with you really quickly. Wow, barely even a challenge. Also, by the way, thanks for breaking my couch, you ingrate. The biggest hazard is these bookcases are kind of vulnerable because they can be smashed by zombies on like walls. So ideally these would be walls, but walls are expensive and bookcases aren't, so yeah. Look at all of our spare guns we carry. I'm going to drop the one that doesn't have any ammo in the clip because why even carry that one unless we're going to find ammo for it? And statistically speaking, the chances of that are minuscule. And as fun as this crossbow is, it's impractical to use right now. Especially since our rifle skill is 1.5 and our archery skill is almost 4. Also, these crossbow bolts are weighing me down. Literally, and not even figuratively. There. I think this is actually enough for right now. Feeling somewhat tired from all the Dwarf Fortress I've been doing lately. Yeah, there's a lot more in that game than I expected there to be.